talk about that. Hopefully Stephanie can address that a little bit with what she's doing.
Okay, great. Did you get the...
I'm going to, so you can go ahead, and you were going to speak first anyway, so.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Riggs. I started building immersive environments back in the 90s with a program called Alice. Has anybody heard of Alice? Nice. So you know how far back I go. And that was back in a time when I was studying both theater as a director and computer science, and nobody had any clue how in the world those two were going to be combined. And I think that right now, especially when we're talking about the language and the aesthetics of virtual reality and how we're building, it's important to kind of look back on other forms of media and how they develop to figure out how we'll move forward. At Azimuth, we create virtual environments, augmented reality environments, and immersive entertainment. So everything from going to Africa and filming the children in Makoko in Nigeria, to create compassion for the donors that save the children, to next month we're going to be filming live action burlesque underground in New York. Anybody want to come? Yeah, you can download, you don't even have to come, exactly. But also working with Broadway producers to how do we bring technology into theater. So we do a wide range of things, and my background is very deep, both on the technology side and on the storytelling side, although my focus really is on the storytelling, which is why I'm glad to be a part of this panel. Is it loaded up? Great. So one of the things, and I thought that this would be fun just as a different way of looking at virtual reality, everybody's talking about specific experiences. Just last month, I was working with the Nantucket Project. It's a very high-level, conference in Nantucket with Fortune 500 CEOs. The headliners were Steve Wozniak, Tony Blair, Ben Carson, and the like. And they challenged us. They said, all right, we're going to do a documentary, and we're going to film. We want to talk about how Africa is bringing its own solutions to solve its own problems internally in its own ingenuity. And they said, but we want to do something more. We want to take 500 people to Africa at the same time. I'm like, Disney won't even put 500 people in a ride together at the same time. What are we gonna, all right, let me think about this, because what we do is not say no, we say how are we going to find a way. So whereas most of these people had never touched virtual reality or put on a head-mounted display, we put together a presentation, and I've got like a 1-minute trailer here to kind of show you how we all put it together. Once the documentary played, then this happened. So,
Yeah, I hope the audio is... Thank you.
7:45 on the dot. We have to all be in the headset so we can all travel to Africa together.
Does anyone not have a headset? If you don't have a headset at all, raise your hand. That's how much time we got left. We knew we were going to walk into chaos. Farsighted, keep your hands up. Brad is a virtual reality dude who helped us put all this together.
Yes, simultaneously we will set the world record for people experiencing virtual reality at the same time.
Okay, if we could all stand up. Okay, we're down to 1:25.
Everyone's looking good.
35 seconds from now, it's just going to start. All right, here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So that was done with the Nantucket Project, and Brad, the virtual reality dude, is one of my colleagues. So it's nice to know how we're related to in the real world these days. But I guess one of the things, and I thought your PowerPoint was awesome, but I'll just speak kind of going back to the background of media, is when we're looking at putting these experiences together and what does this mean. It doesn't have to mean one person sitting alone in their room to try it out. I like to think that we keep pushing the boundaries of what can be done in this technology. Watch it again. For me, looking back at the evolution of media is going to be important to figure out what the language and the aesthetics moving forward are going to be. And I think a lot of people in this room are probably very familiar with film as well. And if you kind of look back at the parallels of how film was integrated into society, initially when they created, have a moving image, what did they do? The first stage was that they just did exactly what was already out there. They filmed, they put a camera in one spot and filmed a train moving, or they put it on the stage and watch the theater performance, which is exactly what's happening right now. If you look at like Felix and Paul, they'll put a camera on stage and Cirque du Soleil comes up to them. You're replicating what you already know as a medium. The second stage is you have people like the people that are on this panel that are pushing the boundaries of what will happen with this medium and what that language will mean. And that's a conversation between the creators and the audiences that they are working with and sharing this with. So that's what in film, then you start seeing people go, okay, well we don't have to follow them around to each room. We can cut and we can do a montage and we can create different kinds of layers of empathy by using different techniques. And then as a third stage, things come into being their own medium. And that was a long way down the line. If you had said to those people that were initially setting up the camera saying, okay, in the end, there's going to be this guy, and Thor's going to have a hammer, he's going to throw it through the air. They'd be like, are you mad? Like they couldn't even conceive of the kind of CG that we have today. And so I think looking right now with where we are and saying, what are the language? How are we going to define this? That's going to be a long process. It's going to be a dialogue that happens over a matter of years. But considering where we are now and how do we work with storytelling and virtual reality. I think that there are three key ones which you touched on. One is knowing your technology, because that's the biggest limiting factor right now. What kind of cameras can you use? What kind of interactivity can you build? What kind of platform can you release on? And that will really define what kind of experience you can do. That doesn't mean don't push the boundaries with it, but being true to whether it's a live action or some kind of interactive CG environment, it changes a lot based on your technology. I'd say also knowing your audience. Who is this going out to? Are you going out to raise money for Save the Children? Are you trying to get 10-year-olds to do math? What is it that you're trying to accomplish with your audience? Because it goes back to filmmaking as well. If you can't make a romantic comedy and throw a bunch of action things in it and say but it's a romantic comedy. Know what you're going for. Know the story that you're trying to tell. And that's really the last thing, is knowing the story that you're trying to tell. There's so many people in these new environments that are saying, well, what is it that we're just going to, them being in the immersive thing is cool enough that we're just going to put them in that situation. It's going to be super cool and everybody's going to go wow. And like you said, that wow factor is ending. I think that, and especially with something like we were looking at with the Nantucket project, initially when we built that platform, the experience, you're in Africa, you're sitting on a boat with the school children of Makoko, and I strapped the thing to my head. We had no camera rig, so I'm like, I'm not going to have the camera in one place and then just cut to another place. I want to go with them. I want to go on a journey. I want to go through the slums that show like how these children live, and go up to this beacon of hope that's a symbol of opportunity for these children. It's like, I want to go on that journey. I don't just want to be here and here. It's a different story. So I just...
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so as we can see, we've got